Hello everyone, and welcome to the November edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll check out an innovative program at the Maplewood Library. We'll meet the new superintendent of School District 622, and we'll meet an area resident who is now standing on solid ground thanks to a White Bear Lake nonprofit. All that and more is straight ahead on Northeast Journal. Hello everyone, and welcome to the November edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen. Every month on Northeast Journal, we give you an inside look at the people and places that make up the northeast section of the Twin Cities. Teenagers have long had a space all of their own to hang out at the Maplewood Library. Now they also have innovative programming with a maker space called the Brain Box. Let's check it out. Libraries are always evolving to meet the needs of their diverse population, and the Maplewood Library is on the cutting edge when it comes to programming for teens, including the Brain Box Makerspace.
We've created this idea of the Brain Box. The Brain Box is our space for content creation and for experimental learning, experiential learning, and a place where kids can come hang out and mess around with stuff.
The teens have the opportunity to work with 3D printers and other technology to create and use their imagination. The Brain Box is run by library staff and also workers from AmeriCorps, like Jana Greenslit.
Just exposure to these sorts of skills, these 21st century skills like 3D design, coding, all those things that they might not necessarily be getting in school, and also getting to think of themselves more as makers, as people who can create, getting them to think a little bit more creatively. 8th
grader Dallas Williams is a frequent visitor to the Brain Box.
It's peaceful and safe environment, yeah.
Maplewood teen librarian Amy Bays is excited to see so many kids coming to the library to use the makerspace area.
I hope that they get a feeling of empowerment for exploration. I hope they get to really build their set of skills. So as they experiment with new ways of thinking about the world, so thinking about vinyl cutting or thinking about a 3D printer or sewing machines or any of those things, they can incorporate that into their skill set, and that helps them think about what they want to do down the line, how they're going to give back to the community and be a part of it.
The Teen Makerspace area takes place every Wednesday from 3 to 6 at the Maplewood Library, and also on Tuesdays from 3 to 5 at the Roseville Library. Over the last several months, we've brought you some stories about the staff that works at the White Bear Lake nonprofit Solid Ground. Now here's a look at one of their residents who has used Solid Ground to turn her life around. Sometimes you need a helping hand to land on solid ground. That's exactly what a White Bear Lake nonprofit named Solid Ground did for Crystal Alwyn.
I never really had my own place ever in my life, and so I bounced around a lot, from friends' houses to boyfriends to renting a room, somewhere in someone's home. But it just, my life was just a mess, with drugs and alcohol, and I was, living in Somerset, Wisconsin, and I got pregnant, and I stopped drinking, but I couldn't stop using marijuana, and so I got caught with a lot of marijuana, and Mothers First got involved, and they have 6 apartments here that they help women get into. So I went to treatment, and then I got to come in here afterwards.
Residents like Crystal can stay at Solid Ground for 2 years, with meetings and classes designed to help achieve success in life. For Crystal, Solid Ground was exactly what she needed.
I would say the structure and the people that work here, and they just help you a lot with everything that you need, and just the resources as far as going to the classes, parenting and DBT, and yeah, things like that. Yep.
Crystal says her family is proud of the progress she's made. She keeps busy at solid ground between classes and doting on her young son.
Solid ground is definitely a place to find yourself and to be stable and grow and to learn and be open and to just know what life should be, you know, how to live, really.
Bye-bye. Can you say bye-bye? Oh.
It's time for a short break. We'll be right back to meet the new superintendent of School District 622.
Stanley, what on earth are you doing?
No, film.
Didn't you say you always wanted to be in pictures?
Well, yes, I did, but not like this.
Stanley, it's all about television nowadays. Look at this flyer I was handed at the high school game last night. It says you too can make TV. Volunteer with On Location TV 19 and we'll show you how.
Well, Ollie, what do you think that means?
Stanley, pick up that film reel. Oh. It means that if you volunteer with On Location TV 19, you too can make TV.
Well, Ollie, what kind of TV? Oh!
If you volunteer for On Location TV 19, you can cover high school sporting events, community concerts, parades, and much more.
Do you think that's why they had cameras at the game last night?
Why, certainly. That's why they had those announcers, instant replay, and all that modern TV stuff.
Ollie, do you think that I could operate one of those TV
Why,
cameras?
of course you could. The folks at TV 19 will show you how.
Ollie, are we still living in the 1930s?
No, of course not, you silly Willy. Why do you ask such a question?
Well, then why are we in black and white?
That's what they call special effects nowadays. I'm sure if you wanted to appear in color, all you'd have to do is ask.
Can we be in color, please?
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. You may remember that last month we showed you a story about the beginning of the new school year in District 622 and their new superintendent, Christine Osorio. We're very pleased to have Superintendent Osorio here in the studio with us today. I want to thank you so much for coming down here today, taking time out of your busy schedule. And first off, for our viewers, can you just give us a little bit of your background, what you were doing before you came to District 622?
Sure, I'm happy to. Thank you for having me here. It's a great delight to be a part of the school district and to be connecting with new audiences here in the East Metro. I spent the last 18 years of my career working in St. Paul Public Schools. I started off there as a teacher, a bilingual teacher, and an ESL teacher. I did work with both young students, grades 1 through 6, and then also adult ESL classes in the evenings. So that was kind of my teaching background. I later became an assistant principal for a couple of years at Adams Spanish Immersion School, and then spent 7 years as a principal of Wellstone Elementary School in what used to be in the downtown building. And then since then, I've had the last 4 years in central office, and I've worn a few different hats in that role: assistant superintendent, supervising principals, and also overseeing academics offices. So that's where I came from before I landed here.
And what made you, I'm sure, teaching was rewarding in and of itself. What made you decide that you kind of want to enter the, world of, being principal and ultimately a superintendent?
I think for me, I was always driven by what sphere of impact can I have to help change and help build the strongest systems for our students and families. And so I've always been really inspired by school systems that work well, that can serve diverse populations of students, and really engage families in the learning opportunities for their students. And so I've always just been driven to find new ways to help improve the system. And so in every layer of my work that I've been involved with, I'm always looking at the next areas where we can impact change and develop leadership, among others as well.
And what about the position here with District 622 kind of attracted you to it, made you want to go for it?
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm a parent of a 622 student. I have a daughter who's a 10th grader at Tartan High School. And in my role as a parent, I've been very active and involved in the theater club and doing volunteering at the school. And so I had lots of opportunity to have conversations with people about this opening and this position coming open. And I think what really got me to apply for the position was a conversation that I had with the former superintendent, Patty Phillips. She and I sat down and talked one day, and really I felt like this was a perfect fit for me. I love the diversity of our school district. The work that's been happening in District 622 to close the achievement gap is pretty outstanding. And so really just a great system to want to be a part of. And so fortunately, it all worked out, and I'm here.
So is it at all intimidating for your daughter? I know, you come across teens or kids who maybe their parent is a teacher or,
right.
Maybe even a principal, but to have your, mother be the superintendent. But I suppose, there's probably not a lot of day-to-day interaction within the school. Since you're over in the offices.
Absolutely, and she's been very supportive, but like I told her, most high school kids don't really pay attention to who their superintendent is. They're more likely to bond with the teachers and maybe the principal, but superintendent's a couple steps removed from the classroom, so in that sense I figured she could still continue to blend in with her day-to-day work.
Well, that's great, but
Yeah.
I'm sure she probably knows a little bit more about the workings of the district than maybe the average student would.
Perhaps. She knows what my schedule is like.
Great. And coming in, you've been on the job now a couple months. What are your kind of initial thoughts of this district and your new role?
One of the things that struck me most about our school district is the deep pride that staff, employees, and families have in the school district. I can't tell you how many people I have met who tell me they themselves graduated from North High School or from Tartan High School, and their parents did, or their brothers and sisters did, and their children are now being raised in the school district. I think that's pretty unique for an urban school district to have such strong roots and strong ties like we have. And so I think that's an area that we should feel really proud of, that families stay in the school district and they raise their children in the school district and feel such a strong connection to the history. I think that the other thing that has really impressed me is just the strong leadership we have. We have really solid school principals and teachers. I would say the school district has invested a lot of energy and time into professional development for the teachers and the administrators prior to my arrival, and their level of knowledge about pedagogy and teaching is very strong, and something I've been very impressed with. As I make it around to the different schools and into classrooms, we have a very knowledgeable educational team here, and I'm just so proud of the skills that we have on board with our team. Very invested families. I've been around to almost all of the PTO or PTA groups in the district, and really enthusiastic and involved families, and it's just been a true delight to meet everybody.
Yeah, I've always been impressed, over the years here at our station. We've done a number of stories on the district, everything from sports to, individual school clubs or outstanding students, teachers, that type of thing. And we've come across a lot of really bright students and a lot of teachers who seem terrific and students that seem to really admire their teachers. And we've always had pleasant experiences there. What are some goals that you're having now for the next rest of this school year and beyond?
I think an area I'm really passionate about is building college and career pathways. We talk a lot about preparing our students for life after high school, and I would say actually our school district is very strong in this area. Nearly or more than half of our students actually participate in a college credit-bearing class while still in high school in our school district, which is pretty amazing. We know that for students who had that experience of taking a college credit-bearing class while in high school, they're far more likely to go to college and graduate from college. And so we really want to increase those opportunities for our students, and not just in the top tier of our students, but even the academic middle. We need to give more students that experience so that they can get on that pathway to to college earlier. I'm passionate about starting that work in middle school, and we have some of that already happening, but helping our students learn early on in 6th grade and 7th grade that the courses that they choose to take and the pathways that they are on begin early, and so they need to really be knowledgeable, and families need to be knowledgeable about that as well. And the other piece that I'm really passionate about is career options for students that are right out of high school. There's a lot of tech industry jobs and trades that are very well-paying jobs and opportunities for students even right out of high school. And I really want to make sure our students know about all of those options open to them. Many companies will even pay for students to go on and further their education if they start working with them first. So we want to really broaden exposure, families, exposure to the options that their students have in front of them. And so we already have a lot of that already started in our school district, and I really want to expand that further. I want to look for additional ways to create accelerated options for students as early as elementary school, so that students don't have to shop around for select programs. All programs offer really accelerated pathways for students who are ready for them, while also providing additional wraparound services for struggling learners and students who need extra supports in the classroom too.
One thing I've noticed over the years, doing various stories on the district, it seems like, in the special education area, there's been a lot of emphasis on preparing those students for life outside of high school, and seems like, a lot of time and programs have been dedicated towards that.
Absolutely. Our goal is to have everybody be productive members of society, independent, successful, and achieve their goals. And so it's really about customizing and individualizing supports and opportunities for our students and making sure they really are aware of all the options available to them.
And one thing I've noticed too, talk about parental involvement with their students is high in the district, but also the community involvement. You see a lot of a lot of business groups or different areas that try to raise money for scholarships or offer different programs to help mentor the kids or to give them job shadowing type opportunities. It seems like Maplewood, North St. Paul, Oakdale are all pretty invested in these kids too.
Very invested, and that's another piece that I've been really impressed with, the community outreach. That there's so many members of the community and the business community that really want to reach out and support our students. Another area I'm really excited about is our 622 Educational Foundation. We've got some really great leadership there, and I'm really looking forward to expanding the role of the 622 Educational Foundation in conjunction with our school district. They provide a lot of great resources to our students, the Angel Fund that helps with coats and shoes for students in need, but we want to take that even to a larger scale and really try to expand those supports and opportunities for our families. So that's pretty exciting as well.
All right, we're just about out of time, but before we go, is there anything else you'd like to add to our viewers about your new role here as the superintendent?
Well, I'll just add that we have been working hard to pass a levy in our school district. I'm sure you've heard a little bit about that, and make sure educating our families about what that means for our school district. It's a tough ask of community members to raise personal taxes and homeowner taxes to fund schools, but ours is a district that hasn't had any increases in 13 years, so I just want to let people know that we're going to be very, very thoughtful and careful about how every tax dollar is spent if our levy is to pass, and so that will be top priority for taking good care with taxpayer dollars.
All right, great. Well, I appreciate you stopping by today. Wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon, maybe towards the end of the school year.
Sure.
And if people want to get a hold of you, I'm sure they can find you on the district's website.
Absolutely,
if they
yep.
have questions or anything like that. But yeah, we just wish you the best of luck in the District 622.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I look forward to coming back.
Well, thanks a lot. And it's time for another short break. We'll be right back with more of Northeast Journal in just a minute.
Hey Greg, what are you doing in the bushes?
Oh, nothing. Just doing some bird watching. Yeah.
You know, this doesn't seem like such a great place for bird watching.
All right. I was just trying to get a look inside my city hall. I don't know any other way to get information.
Greg, you're such a silly man. You don't have to be a creepy spy. Why don't you just watch GTN?
GTN?
Yeah, GTN, the Government Television Network. It's on cable channel 16. They got a ton of information of everything that's going on in the 12 different communities in the northeast suburbs of Ramsey and Washington County.
No kidding. So you mean I can get all this information by watching channel 16 at my own home?
You better believe it, and they've got all their shows on their website too. That's gtn.org.
Wow, I should go check out channel 16 right away.
Hey, what are you guys doing over there? Government Television Network. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/GTN16.
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. It's not every day that the arrival of a new grocery store causes excitement and full parking lots in a city. That's what's happening in Oakdale, though, with the arrival of one of the first HyVee stores in the Twin Cities. Let's take a look. That's all we have time for. Thanks for tuning in, and join us again next month for another edition of Northeast Journal. Since Veterans Day is this month on Wednesday, November 11th, we leave you this time with some sights from the new Veterans Memorial in North St. Paul.